think you're fluent in English? Let's test that. This quiz uses some modern English idioms, not just any textbook English idioms, but the modern English idioms that people actually use in their everyday English conversations at the workplace, at the school, at the college. So, are you ready to take this quiz? Welcome to Fluency Girls. I am Mandeep. Before I begin this quiz, I want to acknowledge that it's good to be back and I have really missed you, and it's nice to be connecting with you today. So, are you ready to take this quiz? Let's begin. Now, at any point during this quiz, you can pause the video, read the situation again, read the sentences, and think about the correct idiom that you could use in this situation. I would like to know your score, so please put your score in the comment section, and which idiom you didn't get right, I would like to know that too. And we'll together collectively as a community help each other learn the usage of the idiom that you might not know how to use in sentences. So let's begin. So the first situation is that everyone in the meeting has already agreed to a plan, but Sumit suddenly started arguing just for attention. So his manager thought that he was only. Your options for the idioms that you can use in this situation are stirring the pot, sitting on the fence, passing the buck, moving the goalposts. So the correct answer is stirring the pot. Stirring the pot means when you're trying to create trouble or some drama without any reason and just for attention. Now let's look at the second situation. Meena keeps saying that she'll quit her job, but she never actually does. So her colleague thinks that she is. Your options are burning bridges, testing the waters, all talk and no action, biting off more than she can chew. So the correct answer to this situation is all talk and no action. So the meaning of this idiom is self-evident, all talk. That means you are all talking about doing something and no action, but you never take any action on doing that. So all talk and no action. Let's move on to the next one. So nothing has been going well about the planned activities of the project. So one partner says, I don't want to overreact yet. Let me and see how things go this week. Now that means the partner just want to see and observe. Let's see the options. Draw a blank, sleep on it, jump the gun, rock the boat. So the correct answer to this is sleep on it. When you sleep on something, some idea or some thought, that means you are taking time before making a decision. So somebody pitches in an idea to you or an offer to you or a proposal and you say that you are going to sleep on it. It means that you are going to just do nothing about it. Just take your time and wait to make your decision. Let's move on to the next one. The new project failed. But instead of taking the responsibility, the manager starts blaming the interns for it. So everyone could see that he was. The options are calling the shots, passing the buck, pushing his luck, reading the room. So the correct answer to this is passing the buck. When you pass the buck on to somebody else, that means you are shifting the blame on to somebody else. You are moving the responsibility or the blame. Now, there is another idiom that I am reminded of, a similar idiom that can be used in such a situation is throwing somebody under the bus. So, when you throw somebody under the bus, that means you are putting all the blame, everything on that person. So, the manager here is throwing the interns under the bus. Okay, could you use this idiom in another sentence of yours and put it in the comment box? I would love to read your answers. Let's move on to the next one. I want your honest feedback on my videos. So it might get uncomfortable also, but guess what? Nobody likes. So the options are opening a can of worms, sugarcoating things, beating a dead horse, or playing it safe. So the correct answer is sugarcoating things. When you sugarcoat things, that means you're trying to make something bad look better. So here we say nobody likes sugarcoating things. That means you want an honest answer that can be uncomfortable truth also. So sugarcoating things means making bad things seem nicer. Moving on to the next one. My friend agreed to handle 3 projects all alone, and now he's completely stressed. He really this time. So the options are miss the memo, cut corners, bite off more than he could chew, drop the ball. So the answer to this is bite off more than he could chew. When you bite off more than you can chew, that means you are trying to take something more than your capacity, right? So biting off more than you can chew. So whenever you try to take something more than your capacity and you overwhelm yourself with work or with things, you can use this idiom there. So taking on more things than you can manage. Let's move on to the next one. The client clearly looks irritated. As a salesman, you should dash before you pitch the idea. So the options are call it a day, read the room, draw the line, raise the bar. So the answer to this is read the room. When you read the room, that means you are catching the emotions in the room. So you are trying to understand the mood or the situation at whatever place, whatever situation that you are in. So for a salesman, it becomes very important to catch the mood or the situation of the client before they pitch in the idea. Let's move on to the next one. She didn't officially resign, but her attitude showed she had already hit the ground running, keep the ball rolling, burned bridges, or checked out. Checked out. We have used this phrase often while checking out from the hotel rooms or from the places. But here in this situation, it means to be mentally disengaged when you are no longer engaged mentally with the job or with the place. So here we are using checkout. Okay, moving on to the next one. He leaked confidential information and now his reputation at work is completely ruined. He really, so the options are tested the waters, burned the bridges, turned the tables, dodged the bullets. So the correct answer to this is burned the bridges. Now, when you burn your bridges or the bridges, it means that you have destroyed relationships permanently. So there is no point of going back. Now, if you are, let's say, moving on from one job to another, it is always advisable not to burn your bridges, because you never know when you might need the recommendation of your previous boss, or you might need to come back to the same job, where same company where you're working earlier. So it's always advisable not to burn your bridges with the company or with the client that you are working with already. Now, let's move on to the last one. So, two friends are arguing about a situation for quite a long, and one of them tells the other that we could argue about this all day, but let's not, and move on. So, the options are: stir the pot, jump the gun, beat the dead horse, push our luck. So the correct answer is beat the dead horse. So beating the dead horse means something that is pointless to be discussed over. There is no point on discussing over those things, or something that's already settled. So there was this, so the argument wasn't reaching anywhere, and it was just pointless to keep on discussing over the same thing over and over. So that's why using the idiom here, beat the dead horse. So I hope that all of you have scored well in this, and even if you haven't, you must have learned something new. So please put your score in the comment box, and which idiom was new to you for use, and use that idiom in your own sentence. I would love to read your comments. I would love to read the way you use these idioms in your sentences. I'll see you next time. Till then, happy learning.